Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the class. Health is like a money. We'll never have a true idea of its value until we lose it. So let's have vigilance towards our health before getting a value of our health by losing it. Is it not? The health plays an important role. Please take care about your health. So this situation that demands for a greater vigilance, a immense vigilance to have towards our health. This season also that requires, so drink hot water, have a mask, do not go outside. First of all, if you want to go outside, make use of a mask, have a sanitizer with you, apply that sanitizer and wash your hand frequently, have a social distance when you go outside. Please take care of your health and have a exercise twice in a day, and good thinking and inculcating and cultivating the cheerfulness in among us. It's a very much essential factor to keep up good things, means a good healthy body. We know about this wellness. We discuss wellness that encompasses the healthy body, the sound mind, and tranquil spirit. That's what we discussed in the last miss. That's what a quotation we discussed. So the health plays an important role. So then afterwards we can go for the discussion. I hope you people are making use of your textbook. In the last class we got just introduction about that. The first chapter, the rise of a nationalism in the Europe. That's what we have been discussing. The rise of nationalism in the Europe we have been discussing. Here just it's a continuation of the last chapter what we discussed in the 9th class, we know. And in the last class we discussed about the painting which is drawn by this fellow Frederic Siro. He is a French artist, and which he has drawn. We have discussed about the one of the painting which is drawn in the series 4, is it not? It is one of the painting which is taken out from the 4 series painting which is drawn by this Frederic Rousseau in the year of 1848. That's what based on this we will be discussing about the nationalism idea, the democratic and republic, political and democratic republic idea which is given by this Frederick. According to that we will be discussing, and that's what happened, the exact fact which has happened in the Europe from 1789. That's what we discuss about the figures which is drawn by the Frederic Rousseau, and that explains that every figure and every scenes in this picture that explains about his idea and the notion of a nation. Then that's what, and the nationalism we got a meaning of a nationalism, the meaning of nationalism that refers to feeling of oneness, the common conscience that emerges when the people living in a common territory shares the same historical, political, cultural background. So now we will start to discuss about the first concept. It's about the French Revolution and the idea of nation. It's about the French Revolution. We know we have discussed about the beginning of French Revolutions about the first chapter. In the first chapter of 9th class we discussed. So it's about the nation of idea of a nation. We'll be discussing about further along with the French Revolution, the idea of a nation. The first clear expression of nationalism came with the French Revolution in 1789. Is it not? From the 1789, they came up with their own idea of a nation state and nationalism. It was the first expression which we got in the world, mainly in the European continent. The French Revolution that explains, and it's an uprising of France against the monarchy from 1789 to the 1799, and which resulted in the establishment of France as a republic, is not? So first France got a republic, means it got a freedom from the monarchy, then followed by the France, there are many other, is not, the Italy and the Germany, there are many other nations got a republic from the monarchy. That's what we will be discussing. Here, the first nationalism, the sense of a nationalism which is created from the 1789. This sense of a nationalism which is created by the delegates like the revolutionaries and the educated class people, they have created, and it may be the philosophers and educated class peoples, they have created the sense of a nationalism. Earlier, the people, they didn't have a sense of a nationalism. They didn't know meaning of a nationalism. Is not to create a sense of a nationalism, to create or to inculcate the nationalism feeling in every individuals they have created some symbols. So they created some symbols because the people in that time in the 18th century, in the mid of 18th century and before of that, the most of the peoples in the Europe, they were not educated, they were uneducated. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಇದ್ದವರು ಮಿಡಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದ್ದರು. ಇಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಇನ್ ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್, ಮತ್ತು ಥರ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟೇಟಲ್ಲಿ ಎಜುಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಡೈಲಿ ವೇಜಸ್ ವರ್ಕರ್ಸ್ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟೇಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ಟೇಟಲ್ಲಿ, ಆ ಮೂರನೇ ಎಸ್ಟೇಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಜುಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಏನಿದ್ರು ಅವರು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕರೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು. ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಟ್. ಅವರು, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಿಲಾಸಫರ್ಸ್, ಗುಡ್ ಥಿಂಕರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನರಿಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಎಮರ್ಜಸ್ from that middle class. So that middle class people who are educated, they have created the sense of nationalism in among the people of France and the Europe. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅವರು ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು? ಸಿಂಬಲ್ಗಳು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಫ್ಲ್ಯಾಗ್, ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಬಾವುಟ, ಧ್ವಜ, ಫ್ಲ್ಯಾಗ್ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಇದು ನಮ್ಮದು ಫ್ಲ್ಯಾಗು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೊಂದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಫ್ಲ್ಯಾಗು ಇದು ನಮ್ಮದು, ನಮಗೆ ಅದು ಮೀಸಲಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಅದು ನಮಗೆ, ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಆದಂಥ ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು. ಮತ್ತು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಮೋರ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಥಮ್ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟಾಗಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್, ಅದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಒಂಥರ ರೋಮಾಂಚನ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಿಲ್ಲೋ, ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ನೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಒಂದು ಸಾಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಬಾಯಿಲಿ ಇದೊಂಥರ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆದಾಗ, ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಯೂನಿಟಿ ಇರೋಂಥದ್ದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್. ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಆದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಟೆರಿಟರಿ, ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಆದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿಕಲ್ ಏರಿಯಾ, ಇದು ನಮ್ಮದೇ, ಇದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಟು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಅಪ್ ಮೆನಿ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ the idea of la patrie. The idea of la patrie in the France is nothing but the fatherland. The idea of a fatherland means who are born in that places, it's belong to them. Then the les citoyens, that means the citizen, the people who are there in the particular territory, and under the particular territory, they are the citizen of that territory, they are a citizen of that state, is it not? And they own every resources which is over there in that territory. So that's what the idea of la patrie and the least citizen they have created. So that emphasized the notion of a united community enjoyed equal rights under the constitution. That's about one changes and one expression and one idea which they have brought in 1789 to create a nationalism. Another one, new French flag they have designed of a 3 color was chosen to replace the former royal standard. It was a royal standard earlier. Now they have created their own flag to identify that this area is belong to them and that state is belong to them. So by visualizing this new flag, a tricolor flag, the estate general was elected by the body of active citizens and they renamed the National Assembly. So this what we are discussing about nationalism, which is started from the 1789. So that's what we will be discussing about the things which is which is happened before the 1789 and after the 1789 we will be discussing. Now what we are discussing about, it's about the middle thing which is exactly started which is causes or which is the scene exactly which is started the French Revolution. That's what we will be discussing now. Here the National Assembly, the estate people, the first estate, second estate and third estate people were there. The first and second estate people, they had the privileges to vote. The third estate people, they didn't have right to vote. So third estate people, they have created their own assembly and they have elected their own representative and they have started it as a National Assembly. So that's what they have started to begin to create the nationalism in among them. Then new hymns were composed. New hymns like anthems, new national anthems they have created. Then oaths they have taken to commemorate the martyrs, the people who have sacrificed their life and the people who have contributed their work to create or to get the nationalism. So in name of them So mainly in the name of nationalism, a nation, in the name of one nation, they have started to commemorate the people who have sacrificed their life to create a nationalism, to create a unity among them, and also they have created their own national anthem and they have taken the oath. So that's all the things they have created to inculcate the nationalism in among every individuals. And they have centralized the administrative system and there was put in a place and it formulated uniform law for the citizens within its territory. They have created their own constitution and they have created their own administration which is ruled by the representative. That representative is elected by the common people, every people in that state, means nation state. So that's what they have made so many changes. And the centralized administrative system, that's what, and the internal custom duties and dues were abolished and a uniform system of weights and the measures were adopted. The internal custom duties were there earlier. If the people wanted to carry the goods from one territory to the another territory, in under the monarchy rule, they needed to pay the taxes. Dues were needed to pay. ಅವಾಗ ಒಂದು ರಾಜ ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಂತ್ಯದಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಂತ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ನಾವು ದವಸ ಧಾನ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್ನ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಯಿತು, ಅಂದರೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಈ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ನ ಇವರು ಅಬಾಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಬೈ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ನೇಷನ್, ಒನ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ದೇ ಅಬಾಲಿಷ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ವೇಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೆಸರ್ಸ್. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ರಾಜರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ 1 kg ರೈಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರು 1 kgನ ತೂಕ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋಸ ಇತ್ತು. 1 kg ರೈಸ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1.5 kg 2 kg ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಇವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಈಗ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಒಂದು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಮೆಜರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಮೆಜರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು, 1.5 kg ಇದ್ದರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಇವರು ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ದ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ದ ವೇಟ್ಸ್. So and they have made a particular taxes on that. That's what the changes they have brought to create nationalism in among them. Then regional dialects were discouraged. Like the regionals, they were regionally they were used to speak a different languages with a different dialects. So they have chosen the French as their national language. Means they have chosen a French because most of them were speaking French. Then they have chosen that as a national language. So by creating all these things, they started to create the sense of nationalism in everybody, so that everybody can join their hands to work, means the fight against of monarchy. That was main idea. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದೊಂದು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್, ಇದೊಂದು ನಮ್ಮದು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮದು ಫ್ಲ್ಯಾಗ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಏರಿಯಾ ಮೆಜರ್, ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್ನ ಅಬೋಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಇದೊಂದು ಲಾ ಪ್ರಾಟ, ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಫಾದರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಯಾಕೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಮೊನಾರ್ಕಿ ಮೇಲೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ರಾಜನ ಮೇಲೆ ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ನಮಗೆ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಮೇನ್ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ. ದ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನರೀಸ್ ಫರ್ದರ್ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ಡ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ಮಿಷನ್ ದಟ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಫ್ರೆಂಚ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಟು ಲಿಬರೇಟ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುರೋಪ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೆಸ್ಪೋಟಿಸಮ್. ಇನ್ ಅದರ್ ವರ್ಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಸ್ ಅದರ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಟು ಯುರೋಪ್ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ದ ನೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಮೇನ್ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನರೀಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಏನಿತ್ತು, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಡೆಸ್ಪೋಟಿಸಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಮೊನಾರ್ಕಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಟೋಕ್ರಸಿ ರೂಲ್. ಈ ಡೆಸ್ಪೋಟಿಸಮಿಂದ ದೂರ ತರಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಜನಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಡೆಸ್ಪೋಟಿಸಮಿಂದ ದೂರ ತರಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತು ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದ ನೇಷನ್ಸ್, ಒಂದು ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು, ರಿಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನರಿಗಳ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ, ಇದೇನೋ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಅ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದ 5, 6, 7 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್. ಈ 7 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, 5 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಪಕ್ಕ ಬಂದೇ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲಿಸಮ್ ಏನಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ 7 points over there, you may get a good marks, you know. So then afterwards, this idea which is spread across all the French areas over there, then the peoples, like educated fellows and the students, they got informations, and they came out of the education institutions, and they started to support for the ideas of a revolution. Then students and the members of educated middle classes began setting up a Jacobin clubs. So we will be particularly discussing about this Jacobin club in the next concepts. Their activities and the campaigns prepared the way of French armies, which moved into the Holland and the Belgium, Switzerland, and much of Italy in the 1790s. So this sense of nationalism, which is created in the 1789. So then afterwards, after 2 years, so when they gathered the volunteers by creating this sense of nationalism, they got a support along with their troops. They got a support, and this group of armies, such like we can call it as army. So the group of army, they started to move from the France towards other countries like Belgium, Holland, Switzerland, and the Italy too. So they have traveled in spreading this nationalism in across the people of Europe. The French armies began to carry the idea of nationalism abroad. That's what. Then afterwards, here the French area, the area of French territory, the France, it was ruled by the Napoleon earlier, is not. So Louis XVI was ruling. So then afterwards, the Napoleon was having control over these areas somewhat. The earlier, the map. We have a map. We'll discuss along with that. So that area was controlled by this Napoleon. When Napoleon got this the news, and he has changed his way of administration, and he has made many changes in his administration and the policies, because the people were against of monarchy, exactly like autocracy. They were against of autocracy and about despotism. So that reason he has changed some rules and regulations which was somewhat familiar to the people and their ideas, so that he can continue his rule. So that was his idea. So what he has did, he destroyed the democracy in the France. The France people, they have moved many other places to spread their nationalism. He destroyed the democracy in the France, but in the administrative failed. He had incorporated the revolutionary principles in order to make the whole system more rational and efficient. So he brought up the code, civil code, we call it civil code of 1804. He created a new system in the administration called as a civil code. So you may get this question. You definitely get the question about this civil code of 1804. It may be for the 3 marks or 2 marks. But you'll get a question. The civil code of 1804. This civil code explains about the changes which is brought by this Napoleon. So usually known as the Napoleonic Code. This actually the Civil Code of 1804. It's known as Napoleonic Code, and this did all away with all privileges based on the birth. You know about this feudal system. A feudal system was there earlier from the before 1789. There was states, social divisions. So social divisions like a first estate, second estate, and third estate. So that was under the feudal system. So the first estate and second estate is what we call the noble and clergies. It was what you called encompasses with the clergy and nobility. They had a right, means they had privileges by their birth, based on their birth. So it was abolished under this civil code of 1804. It was abolished, and he established equality before law and secured the right to property. So that was, he has created a new laws over there. And Napoleonic simplified administrative divisions, abolished the feudal system, and freed the peasants from the serfdom and the manorial dues. You know about the internal custom duties were happened earlier. Means if a person want to move from one territory to the another territory, otherwise you wanted to carry the crop or the food grains from one place to another places, you needed to pay the tax in between there in the boundaries or border. So that was the internal custom duties were there, and it was a different ways and measured in the different data. It was there, they were carried. So this was, all the things are cancelled, abolished under this COVID-19, what you call the civil code of 1804. So these all the reforms and these all the changes brought by this Napoleonic code to, in order to get the interest of a common people. So their common people's idea was different. So he was, whatever the things was created by this Napoleon, it was similar to that ideas. So that reason it was, his idea was different somewhat that. Then transportation and communication system was improved. Under this rule of Napoleon, he made so many changes, like he abolished the feudal system, like what we have, the estate, first estate, second estate, third estate. He abolished the feudal system, and he abolished the internal custom duties, and he freed up peasants from the serfdom, and he has improved the transportation and communication facilities. And the businessmen and small scale production of goods in the particular began to realize that uniform laws, standardized weight and measures, and a common national currency would facilitate the movement and exchange the goods and capital from one region to another regions. And by whatever the changes he made, so by that many people were very happy, because for mainly for the businessmen and for the merchants it was useful, because they were continuously involved in transporting the goods from one place to another places. That was their business. So whatever the reforms made under this Napoleonic Code was easy, and it was familiar, and it was useful for them. So that was they were happy. But gradually, so he has abolished all these custom duties, and he abolished the feudal system. Then he got a lack in his treasury, the money problem. He started to face a money problem to run the administration, to maintain his army, and to keep up good wealth in the the palace. That's required money, is it not? So he got lack in that. He got some shortage of money over there. So that's the reason it took a different way. So that's what we will be discussing. So in many places such as Holland and Switzerland and Brussels, Mainz, Milan and Warsaw, the French armies were welcomed in the harboring of liberty. So here the many places like people of Holland, Switzerland and the Mainz, Milan and Warsaw, they were welcomed these French armies, because in their idea, in their the thinking, they thought these fellows here, they are going to give us the freedom. It's a beginning of a freedom. So what they are making movement, they thought it's the beginning of a freedom. So we will get a freedom after this any process or many other revolutions. They thought then they have welcome. So it was not happened fully, and partially. After so many times, the people they started to rose against of this revolution, which they took, the French revolutions, the French armies they take, which they took, they were not accepted fully. At the beginning they accepted, then afterwards so many times because of this Napoleonic code, they got some problem. So that reason, so many people they started to raise their hands against of these armies, because the increase in the taxation and the censorship forced the conscriptions into the French armies required to conquer the rest of Europe. All seem to outweigh and the advantages of administrative changes. Here, this French army is sent under the control or under the maintenance and under the guidance of this civil code like Napoleon. He has sent that. So they initially they accepted. And after gradually, when the process was going on along with this the civil code 1804, the people started to raise their hand against of this, because he increased the taxation, the amount of a tax which the common people needed to pay. It's got increased by this Napoleon, because he got empty in the treasure. So he got a lack of money to maintain his army and the administration. So that reason he increased the taxes. And the censorship also introduced. The censorship means the people of that area, the territory which is under the control of this Napoleon, should not raise their voice against of any decision. That was the censorship which is introduced by this Napoleon. So the people of that territory, they got suppressed, and they have started to raise their voice against of this army which is marched towards the Holland, Switzerland and the many other areas. So that was condition, and the Napoleon Code of 1804, it didn't got a success at the end, and it was a very successive measure and successive program for the very shorter period of time. Then afterwards it got a failure. Then we'll discuss next concept. It is about making of nationalism in Europe. So this concept, it will be continued with what we discussed in the last concept. Same like after the Civil Code of 1894, means 1804, Civil Code of 1804. So then it will be continuation of that, the making of nationalism in Europe. It's the second concept of this chapter. Germany, Italy, Switzerland were divided into kingdom and duchies and cantons whose rulers had their autonomous territory. Here, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, these all the important states, means nation state, you may call it, the countries were divided into the many kingdoms. So that these all the Germany, Italy, Switzerland that was ruled by the duchess. Duchess, you may call it as dukes like nobles, the upper class peoples like clergy, nobles, mainly the first estate people. The nobles were ruled all these areas like Germany, Italy, Switzerland, and this mainly totally it was under the autocratic monarchy. Means they were already their dukes like nobles. They are themselves they considered that like they are monarchy, they are kings and they are rulers of that area. So that reason this all the states, this all the places like Germany, Italy, Switzerland were under the autocratic monarchy, and they did not see themselves as a sharing a collective identities as a common culture. So this nationalism, sense of nationalism, it started in the France, you know. So they got ideas, the Germany, Italy, Switzerland, somewhat they got information, they got a news of this nationalism which is begun in the French, and themselves they saw in their territory, but they couldn't see the collectiveness of unity, oneness, and a common culture, sharing a common culture, sharing a common language, sharing a common territory. They didn't see much in among them because that area was ruled by this all the dukes, these nobles. So that is the reason. So they have started their revolutions. They have started their means they have joined their hands along with the ideas of a nationalism which is emerged in the France. So they didn't have a one ethnic group. So ethnic, what do you mean by the ethnic group? So it related to the common racial and like a culture, origin, and a background that a community identifies with. One means claims that community which will share the common identity, common culture, common history. So it's about ethnic. So that practices the common traditional activities and the cultural activity. It's also one ethnic. So they didn't find the one ethnic group over there. They didn't find the collectiveness, identity of collectiveness over there. So that's was the problem. And in there, the Habsburg Empire ruled over the Austria and Hungary. You know these. Let me discuss with the map here. We have a many like here Habsburg. This is a territory which was under the control of a monarchy. So that includes Austria and Hungary. Now it's divided. Now at present it's different countries. So earlier these two countries were included as a one territory that was ruled by the Habsburg Empire. So Austria and Hungary. So that's what we are discussing now. And where is that? Then this includes this Habsburg Empire that also was including the Alpine regions, means the regions which was there in a high altitude and mountain areas like Alpine regions like the Tyrol, Austria, and Sudetenland, Bohemia, where the aristocracy was predominantly German speaking. In the Bohemia, in this all the Alpine regions, mainly Austria, Sudetenland, and Bohemia, the people of that places most of that areas was dominated by these aristocracies. Their main language was German. They were German speaking, and it also included the Italian speaking provinces of Lombardy and Venetia. Here the reason behind speaking Germany by the aristocracies, because Germany they thought it's like a royal languages. So to maintain the royal allegiance with in between them, they started to speak Germany. So Germany was called as it was having more value, means it was called as aristocracy languages. So that reason the most of the aristocracies they were speaking Germany over there. The Hungary, the half of population spoke Magyar, and while the other half of the spoke varieties of dialects. In Galicia, the other country beside of that means a territory, it was not country earlier, the territory Galicia, the aristocracy spoke Polish, the language Polish. The aristocracy in everywhere in that territory, they had a portion of area which was included or which was filled by these aristocracies. Means compared with the third estate, aristocracies were less in the number, but they were dominating others. And beside these three dominant groups, there also lived within the boundaries of an empire. This only the binding three diverse groups together was common allegiance of an empire. So even though these all the countries means all the territories were ruled by the different monarchies, different empire, but even though they were gathered as a one binding, means they are tied in one binding because they had a allegiance to the emperor. So emperor, the is a king of kings, emperor, is it not? So the many kings were ruling the area, means they were imposing their rules and regulations, and they were controlling the territory under the guidance and under the control of this emperor. So even the people belong to the different territory of a different rulers, so that every people they are tied as a one binding, as a one binding, as a oneness they were tied because of their allegiance to the emperor, allegiance like obedienceness, raja nishte. So yes, according to their means, because of their raja nishte, they have gathered as a one, means they have shown they are belong to the one empire, one Habsburg empire. That was a reason. So that's the condition in that time, in that reason. So after this civil code of 1804, that was a condition in apart from this France. So in the Germany, Italy, Switzerland, so that was a condition over there. And here the aristocracy and the new middle class. Here we will discuss about emergence of middle classes. So earlier in the first concept I told that I will be discussing about the middle classes. That's what here we will discuss the comparison in between the aristocracy and the middle class. So in the last class, first chapter, we discussed about the same, the first estate, second estate and third estate. There the middle class didn't emerge in the countries except the French. Now the middle classes also emerged in other countries except the French. So that's what we will be discussing. Socially and politically, a landed aristocracy was dominant classes on the continent. So on the continent in the Europe, the aristocracy was the dominating classes. The member of these classes were by common ways of life that across the regional divisions. Their families were often connected by ties of marriages. And the aristocracies, since they are called as upper class families, they connected to the other aristocrats families with the ties of marriages, and also they had a link. They wanted to continue their relation with their own categories of people like upper class families, and they used to speak French to have to continue their what you call royal activities, to continue the royal activities and the allegiance of a royalty. So they were speaking the French languages. They were making use of French languages. This powerful aristocracy was, however, numerical a small group. Numerically, they were a small group. Suppose the 90% of population are third estate, only 10% of population were aristocracies. They were belonging to the estate 1, estate 2. So even though they were dominating, and also the only 10% of population they were the owner of 60% of agriculture land. That was a condition. So that shows how dominating they were making on towards the third estate. The growth of towns and the emergence of commercial classes whose existence was based on the production of a market. So these the agriculture land and the towns and the big buildings were owned by these aristocracies. They were the owner of all these important buildings and everything. The industrialization began in the England in the second half of 18th century, but the France and part of Germany state it occupied only during the 19th century. In the England, the industrialization has begun in the England mainly in the second half of 18th century. That means from 1750 onwards, the industrialization began in the England. So then afterwards, after 50 years, approximately after the 50 years, the industrialization got spread in the place of France and Germany. So here, as it awake, a new social groups came into the beginning. So here, when the industrialization began in the Britain and Germany and the France, the new classes called as middle class began. As the industrialization began, the businessman and merchant, they got a more income, means they got a more duty over there. Then individually they started to grow up. The middle class family, what we call as the third estate people, like businessmen and merchants and the educated people, they have started to grow up individually without the help of these aristocracies. So when the industrialization began, they started to work in the industrialization activity. So even the aristocracies also needed the product which is produced in the industries. So these industries activities was controlled by this third estate called as the educated peoples. So that educated peoples, they created their own group called as middle class. So this from here the middle class, the new section has got emerged, and it was among the educated and liberal middle classes that ideas of nationalism, unity following the abolitions of aristocracy privileges gained popularity. For because of this middle class, because of the educated, what we call as a middle class people, the nationalism got emerged. The nationalism of Europe is got spread. The nationalism which is begun in the French got spread to all across the Europe because of these middle class people. So because of the middle class people, they were able to abolish the aristocratic privileges gained popularly. Means what they have privileges based on the birth, it's got abolished because of these middle class families. Then they have started the liberalism, the concept of liberalism and nationalism. So we'll discuss about the nationalism, and it's somewhat big concept. Next, if I continue the nationalism, it drags for the next conservatism. So that reason, we'll stop here for the discussion about second concept. We will stop here. We will continue with the nationalism in next concept. Means in next class, we will continue with the nationalism. So till now, what we discussed, it's about the nationalism, how it has begun and how it has created a sense of nationalism on the people of European countries. So that's about, we'll continue with the nationalism, how the nationalism is begun, means how it has got spread and how it has got a strength because of many other processes. So we will discuss with the next class, and I hope you understood. Thank you. Have a nice day.